first ride in the jump off really kind of set the pace. Was there anything about that ride that you had in mind strategically, or how did you feel about the ride going into it?
That's a horse of one of my customers. It's a great horse, and I knew that she's quite quick. She lets me borrow her from time to time, and the mare wins a lot of classes. So I wanted to, even though she was first, I felt like she was my best chance to win the class. My other horse is a bit green and not so much experience. So I wanted to sort of take a good shot with the mare and put enough pressure on everyone behind me.
Now, I understand sometimes you wear a lucky jacket during rides. Is that true?
I used to wear a lucky jacket. Now I've kind of switched over to just trash talking my opponents and try to get in their head. I know after I won the first horse, Allie asked me how many strides I did the last jump, so I told her I did 9, so that she would think 8 is forward. But I actually did 8, of course, so she could have done 7 to beat me.
So trash talk is your lucky charm these days.
It's all about the trash talk. You gotta have some fun.
So Allie, your last ride, kind of a nail biter for everybody. We were all expecting Laura to probably take 2 of the top 3 spots, and then your last ride kind of took that away from her. Was there anything about that ride that you had in your mind you just wanted to get in the top 3, or were you aiming for a certain placing?
If I'm going for it, when I'm going for it, I'm always going for the win. But I definitely top 3 is somewhere to aim for.
Was it a really exciting feeling that you were able to jump in there right at the end and kind of give the crowd a big exciting ending?
Yeah, I was hoping to be first. Especially with all the trash talk.
Okay. And Laura, last night, Samuel Perot took 3 of the top 3 spots. You briefly held 2 of the top 3 spots tonight. Were you hoping that you were able to hold on to those? Was it something that you're really gunning for?
My first horse is a young horse of mine, so I thought that was about as fast as I was willing to go on him, and I was really happy with the result, and I thought he jumped great. So after that, I kind of watched a lot of people have jumps down. So then I went on my more experienced horse and decided that a second clean round was going to guarantee me a top 4 ribbon. Basically, at that point, I was going to be in the top group, so I went a little slower on him and just made sure that I was jumping clean. So it would have been great to be second and third, but honestly, to be 3rd and 4th, I was just as happy. Right. And Allie, next time ask me, because I'll tell you how many down strides I did to the last.
And now for all you riders now, the difference between outdoor to indoor riding, are you feeling that your rides are becoming more comfortable now that it's the second day?
I like riding indoors. I think it takes away the choices that you have. Outdoors you can kind of hold out an extra stride and make a second choice work, and it feels like indoors there's only one choice in front of you and you have to make that work. So I actually find time alloved's a little easier to be inside of, and I find it actually a bit easier to ride inside. And even on my big horse, he actually kind of slows down a little easier because he sees the end of the ring.
Okay, and can you as well, same feeling, or?
I'm just happy to be riding, to be honest. It's my first show since July. I had a small injury and I was out for a few months, so indoors or outdoors, I'm just happy to be back in the ring.
Indoors has always been, I've thought of it being a bit more difficult just because everything comes up a bit quicker. But this year my horse has proven to be, lovely to ride indoors, so it's actually seems it's fun. And like Laura said, is the time allowed seems easier, where I've normally, at Spruce Meadows or somewhere outside would struggle. But indoors it hasn't seemed to be a problem.
Okay, and then John, it's pretty exciting to have 7 of the Canadian riders in the jump off. And Ireland's James Chalk was the only international. But do you think it's a great representation to have that many Canadians kind of competing and pushing each other?
Well, it's always good to help your fellow Canadian rider, and we're hosting these events. And hosting international events like this, all these guys are earning world ranking points. And all of these guys to be in this ring, earning these ranking points, is important. And I'm just glad to help them do it. There was a couple of international riders here in the field today. We hope in the future to have more. But I'm happy to have it dominated by the Canucks.
And John, for you as well, was that exciting to see that your event was very well represented by the Canadians?
Well, what the best thing I took away from tonight is the progression I've seen from last year, and what John's trying to do and build the sport in Canada is very important, because I'm not a rider. I'm a horse owner. I'm a sponsor, right? And my family rides, me and my daughter. So I think it's really important that if we don't have that foundation and that growth, and that's what I saw tonight. The sport was great. My guests had a blast, and half of my guests never seen the sport before, and they were excited to watch that jump off.
It was a good jump off, huh?
And that's important, because I've traveled, of course, to Europe and the United States to watch the sport, and this event, anywhere in Europe, there would not be an empty seat. So I know that's what John's trying to achieve, and I think he's making the proper steps to get there.
John, is that flattering?
It is flattering coming from John because he's become a real friend, and I've always been a believer that you have to earn your friendship with people, and I consider him a valued friend as well. As I set out in the presentations today, he approached me a few years ago asking how he could help, because his daughter started riding at our place out in the country many years ago, and she herself has made that progression from a very green and inexperienced young rider to the international level of the sport. She couldn't make it with us to compete here this year. Her horses are over as she's getting coached by one of our great Canadian riders, Eric Lamaze. So she couldn't be here, but she wants to get here in future years and showcase her abilities that she's learned on the international scene, largely because of events like this around the world. And now she has it in her own backyard with the support of guys like John Edwards.
Okay. And last question for the riders, each of you. Any particular goals you have for the rest of the week, or is this again like Keen, you were just happy to be back out there? Is there a particular goal you each have for the rest of the week?
For my horses, just to stay consistent and keep building towards next week. That'd be my number one goal, probably.
Okay.
Yeah, I brought 3 horses out here that I think are all very competitive. So I'm hoping to, I think we have 5 big classes remaining over the next sort of 10 days. So I'm hoping to be back here a few times if it's possible, and I'll definitely do my best.
I'm just starting at the FEI level, and my horse, she's only 8, and as much as I try to trash talk back, I just want to stay consistent and hopefully build up for the big event next week,
Okay.
if possible.
Great. Thanks very much, guys. Really appreciate it.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.